Welcome back to the hopefully last part of the PW80 build. On this episode, I'm just going to finish it up with the new parts, and by the end we will have, hopefully, a complete PW80 pit bike that runs. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, so to start off, got a new carb right here. Apparently it was running, but I'm still going to drop the bowl, clean it, and then slap that on. It's not a legit Mikumi like this one is, but it'll work. Included with that, I got another throttle tube, kill switch, and throttle cable. I got wheels and tires, front and back. They're used, don't care. They're the tire is Chensing, Chinese, whatever, knockoff. Got the hub. It's got some damage, and obviously these are all really pretty worn out, so I'm going to order bearing kits and replace all the bearings in front and back wheels because I don't want to deal with any sort of bearing failure. It sounds like there's no grease in here, which I'm sure there isn't. There's play in the bearing too, so that's cool. Anyways, yes, they got damaged. They're worn out, beat up, whatever. It's fine. All the parts are here that I need though. So I still need to order a rear sprocket, a new chain, rear axle and adjusters, and the body. And I think that's it. And then this thing will be done. So I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm going to do the carb and oil pump first because those are easier. This supposedly came off of a running bike, so I'm hoping it wasn't nearly as bad as this one was. Fuel doesn't smell horrible actually, so that's promising. Looks actually really good. So not nearly as bad as the other one was. And this one has a plastic float. I'm just going to spray this out with carb cleaner and slap it on and put it in place of this one. With this carb and the other parts, I got a OEM throttle cable and choke cable, so I'm going to use that one and replace this knockoff one. That feels good. Let's see if the throttle moves. Okay, I'm going to unbolt the oil tank and try to get the hose out as quickly as possible without dumping oil everywhere. Oh. I think for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to delete it entirely. They make little block-off plates that, because like once you take it out, there's a hole there you need to block. This little oil injection's neat and all, but I'd rather just delete it to have one less thing that can fail. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove it, inspect it, and then probably just delete it no matter what. There we go. I don't know what it would take to test this. So we got the oil pump out, and it's a metal gear, which is good. So I was worried that maybe the teeth were stripped on it, but it looks fine. I just don't really know if there's a way to test it. But I think I'm just going to delete this no matter what because I don't care for it. It's a cool concept and all, but if this thing fails, it kills my engine. So I don't really want to do that. Yeah, I'm just going to buy the block-off plate for that and then just run mixed gas. So I just got to find out what it takes to get that block-off plate. This is now good. I'm going to open this throttle tube, or throttle cable, and remove the second cable because we don't need it anymore. And I'm going to hold on to the oil pump and I'm just going to put them in like my parts bin. So if I decide I want to go back to an oil pump, then I can do it. But for now, I do not want it. There we go. The cable for the oil pump is now out. I decided what I'm going to do with the intake. So I'm just going to mount this and turn it out to the side. And then I bought this little coupler, which is I want to say it's 1/2 inch to 1/2 inch coupler, so it's meant to accommodate 1/2 inch. But it also makes it exactly 1 inch or 26 millimeter exterior. And this is just going to go out to the side like that. I don't know how much heat this coupler can take. It is just PVC, but I'm going to cut it because right now it sticks out a little bit more than I prefer. Like that's fully seated, but even so, it's like there's a gap of like 1/2 inch. It looks kind of dumb. And then also this line. This is the vent line. the inlet for the oil pump needs to be blocked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little section of hose and I'm going to put black silicone in one end just to make a plug out of it, and then just put onto the carb on the back here so that that hole's not letting in dirt and vacuum leak stuff. I've gotten the intake situation figured out now. So I've had this coupler I got and I've trimmed it there's about 2/3 of it left. And now when I put the filter on it, it fits like perfect and is hidden in there so you won't even know it's there. It's just like that. And it's secure and I can actually clamp this on here. So I'm pretty happy with that as a result. I got more packages here for parts, so I'm going to go ahead and open them up. We'll do like a dumb little unboxing. So this first box, I know what this is, and it's not super exciting, but I'll show you anyway. I got a t-shirt. I didn't order a t-shirt. It's super tiny. So I guess they figured that I was buying parts for a PW80, so I got a child's small t-shirt. I got a new seat, which I only bought it because it was like, I was really surprised by how cheap it was. And this should be a factory replacement. I mean, this material may not hold up and may dry out and crack, who knows. But there's that. And this is actually the biggest thing that I needed. And the reason I found this to begin with was one of the commenters in the last video said where to find it. But this is the oil pump delete plug. So it's just like really rough cast aluminum with an O-ring on it. So, I mean, that's all I needed to delete that oil pump. So it's really awesome. And it came with Allen key bolts, even though I already have more. They gave me matching hardware, so that's pretty cool. Okay, well, there's that. What is this? These are the mounting nuts, the little lockers for the drop it. So we got the rear gear here. See that 5 times fast. Nice and new rear gear, and I went with a larger or more teeth. The original was 32 teeth, and this one's a 37. And looking at the chart of torque like ratios, the factory setup was a 15 in the front and a 32 in the back, and that was a 2.13 ratio. And since I'm a lot heavier than a normal rider would be, I wanted more torque, so I went to a 37 tooth and a 13 tooth in the front, which equates to a little under 3 to 1. It's like 2.8 to 1 ratio. So a decent amount more torque. So there's that. So we got the new gear. I got the mounting nuts, since they're a little strange in regards to shape, since they fit in the hub. I ordered new of those, a couple master links, the little bolt retainers, because they have the little tab you bend over to keep the bolts from backing out. Yes, that's right. So the front and rear bearing kits. This should be the chain. Yeah. Oh, it came with master link. Why did I buy more? Well, either way, new replacement 420 chain. High performance, so it says. This is like the cheapest one I could find. That was legitimate. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to go ahead and get to putting in the oil pump delete. Not the smoothest way, but it worked. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the ground and finish up some other stuff, because at this point there's nothing else I can do on this that requires it to be on the workbench. Okay. But I guess the rear fender is required to actually mount it in the back, because I don't think it's got the studs, but they don't line up with these, so I'm not sure. Either way, that'll be fine. I like to ride it around. Back up over there. Got a little adjuster. Okay, I've gotten everything I think I need now to install the wheels and tires onto the dirt bike. So I've got the rear drive, the new one here, along with new chain, new mounting bolts and nuts, and retaining washers. I've got the rear axle which came in, and the sleeve nut and adjusters. And both these adjusters are bent a little bit, so if they break, whatever, I'll just order new ones. If they don't, great. I've already wire brushed all this old stuff because it was all really nasty. I've got the hub here, and all I've done so far is there was a couple stress fractures in the little tubes here on a couple of them. So what I did is I took a file and I ground down the areas where the cracks were, and then put a little JB weld in there. So it's got a cure. So like that one, there's a little crack like right inside there. This has to cure, which is fine because I have to get the bearings out next. So that'll give me time for that to cure. So right now I've got both sets of bearings in the freezer to shrink them a little bit. And then I'm going to use heat and like a pry bar or big flathead screwdriver to get out the old bearings, one of which is actually in here, which is going to be interesting. So to start off, let's got a little seal first. Okay. That bearing. So for the front, we're going with, and these are double sealed, so both sides are sealed, unlike the original ones which have no seals. One, that'll help keep in the grease, and two, that'll help keep out contaminants. So I'm going to press in just this outer one first. The seal can come later, and then do the other side once I have everything greased up. But right now this is a little warmer. And then I'm going to actually pack a decent amount of grease in there. There we go. And then same process. There we go. I guess in the meantime of waiting for the hub JB weld to cure, I'll just install the front rim and tire. Froze this O-ring, so oh yeah, no, it's fine. Easy. It's gonna be awkward. There we go. I've given the JB weld a decent amount of time to cure, and then I've also sanded it down. And then areas where there's little divots or like this little crack here, I went and filled them in and sanded those back. So this is done. I guess I'll do the bearings next. Okay, so I got everything out of here. There was a bearing, a seal, and then these two little pieces. So since I'm reusing these, I went ahead and took them to the wire wheel to get all the loose rust and dirt off. This is cooled down since I tapped the old bearing out, so I'm going to heat it back up a little bit. And then I have the frosty bearing that was in the freezer all night, and I'll put them together. So yeah, I'm going to heat this up now and then tap this bearing in. So I got the new sleeve, new bearing, new seal, and then new outer sleeve, collar, whatever you want to call it, all pressed in. So we're good on that. So now I can go ahead and mount the sprockets. So this will be interesting for sure. Just like that, just drop them on the floor. Yeah, smart. And then once these are all tight, you need to bend over these little tabs so that these bolts can't back themselves out. Okay. So we've got everything tightened in. Got everything sanded, got new seals, everything looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the rim as well as the rear drum assembly. That adjuster is in backwards. Neat. Let's do this a third time. I'm being optimistic here, but I'm going to say this factory chain is going to go on no problem, even though I changed sprocket sizes. I'm going to take the side cover off so that I can get access to. Ooh, it looks pretty close. Nope, 2 lengths short. I'll just have to order more chain and then I'll have spare. Okay, so this isn't happening today. So now I'm just gonna, I guess, roll it outside, put gas in it, and then start doing the break-in procedure. Kill switch off. It sounds so bad that I'm literally waiting for it to explode. I mean, if it blows up, whatever, I'll just build it again. I'm gonna start back up and see what happens. That sounds so horrible. I think I'm gonna change the oil on it and put the proper stuff in, just hoping that that noise is the trans and not the engine. Okay, so today was a learning experience. On the plus side, the engine ran. It seems to respond to throttle properly. The throttle works properly. It is a complete pit bike now. It's a roller. It's easy to move around versus having to pick up and carry. The engine sounds horrendous. And off camera, I put it through 3 heat cycles up to where the cylinder head becomes warm to the touch, and shut it down, and then do that 2 more times. As well as when I was doing that, I was feeding it extra oil like directly into the carb, as well as the really enriched like 20-to-1 mixture that the fuel tank has in it. And even then, like the sound has gotten quieter, but it still sounds really bad. So the options I see are either the engine will eventually quiet down, or it just happens to be that noisy, or the connecting rod bearing on the crankshaft end is failing or has failed, which means pulling that engine back out, doing the crank and connecting rod, and that's gonna suck. Like, I want to enjoy this thing. I've spent so much time and effort in it, as well as money, which, let's not talk about that. That I really want to enjoy it. The other things that I noticed that need to be fine-tuned: rear shock is too weak, should be replaced or stiffened, probably replaced with like a bypass shock. Front shocks need to be bled. These tires suck, they're dry rotted, and I need to order a couple more lengths of chain. Yeah, so the initial plan for this video was to order body, do the front and rear brake linkages, and have a running good pit bike. But with the engine sounding the way it is, the end of this project does not seem as close as I thought. So I am just gonna end the video here. So with all that being said, thanks for watching and stay tuned.